Hi there guys, in this video today I'm going to show you how to make this jacket. Now this jacket is, I'm going to show you how to do it, but there's no strict, I'm not giving you strict instructions, put on 500 stitches, take off 50,000, blah blah blah. With this one you're going to be making those decisions by yourself. I just did it. The first thing that you're going to want to do is that you're going to have to measure yourself. However, if you don't want to have yours this long, you just want a little waistcoat jacket, you can do that with this pattern as well. You can do anything. If you want it up to here, you can do it that length, whichever length you want. And I'll be telling you how to do that. But the first thing that you're going to do is measure yourself, I suppose, by wherever it's the widest, how far down you're going. So for me, because I want it over my hips, I want the widest part to be that measurement. So you're going to measure yourself, and then whatever measurement you come up with, you're going to chain that amount of stitches. For this one, we did it all in one. So I went from this side and I put all the stitches on to that side, except for this part over here. This part you do separately, but we're doing it all in one. So you can see I didn't have to sew anything. The only place on this jacket that you're sewing is your one shoulder seam to the other shoulder seam. That's the only sewing it has. It's got no other sewing, which is wonderful. So that's going to be your first thing, is to measure yourself. If you're going with your waist, it's going to be a lot smaller and easier. You would measure yourself over there. And that's really all that you need to know. And whatever measurement you have, that's how many chain you're going to cast on. You're going to chain. So yeah, I think I've kind of explained everything else in the video. If you don't come right, leave a little message for me. And as I say, this is, don't get upset if I don't tell you put on exactly so many amount of stitches and this is what you do there, because that's not the type of video that this is. This one, I want you to be making your own garment by yourself and with no set pattern. And that's why I say you can do it any length, any height, any width, whatever you want. And all that you're going to do is you're going to go straight up. There's different ways. You can do it straight up all the way to your armhole and keep it all straight. You could keep everything straight and it'll just kind of flow off here and be square over here. What I did with mine is that mine seemed to come, as I came up, I thought mine was looking a little wide, so I decreased, and you can actually see where I decreased. I decreased 3 places and 3 for 2 rows, and that was it. So it's up to you. I do show you how to decrease. I didn't show you how to increase because I'm assuming we didn't need to increase, just decrease. If there's a problem there, I'll have to see how to increase. I didn't work out how to increase, just as I say, just to decrease, which is fine. So yeah, you're just going to go straight up. If you need to decrease, you will decrease. And I'll show you how to do the rest and how to divide it here. But very easy, not hard at all. And I hope that you'll be able to show me if you do make something, that you'll be able to post a picture or something. I'd love to see how yours comes out. And you can use different colors, don't have to be set by mine. And very multi-functional pattern, if I can put it that way. So watch the video. If you have any questions, you can ask me down below. I do have a blog as well, and you can click on the blog because I'll be putting some things on there as well. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so to start this project, just remember, in doing this project, this is your own creation. I'm giving you guidelines and it's not a set pattern, so don't get upset if I don't have specific stitches for you, because I really want you to learn how to do this by yourself, and it's really not that hard. It's just a few guidelines, and that's what I'm going to give you. So I'm going to try and give as many guidelines, but this isn't a video where I'm telling you exactly how many stitches to do, because that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to teach you how to make something by yourself, and this is a pretty easy one. So the very first thing is, as you see, this jacket we've made all in one. This is the front, this is one of the front sections, this is the back, and this is the front. So we don't have to sew anything except for our shoulder seams. That's the only thing that you're going to be having to sew with this jacket, so that's really nice. saying all that, the very first thing you're going to have to do is to measure yourself. So get a tape measure. Now, depending on how long, we're not doing the length, we're just doing the width. So measure your hips, or once again, this is going to depend on how low down you want your jacket to be. If you want it to be at your waist, to finish at your waist, that's what you're going to measure. For me, I made a long jacket, so I wanted my hip part to be I wanted to get the widest measurement from my hips, because I wanted this to be long. Like I said, if you're only going up to your waist, measure your waist, else you're going to have it as wide as your hips, and it's going to be too wide for your waist. So having said that, measure yourself, and then this pattern stitch, you need a multitude of 5 stitches plus 2 at the end. So what you're going to have to do is and this is all the way around, because you're doing the front and the back. So you're going to measure yourself from all the way around your hips, so that you've got your full measurement. And let's say it's 40. So 40 inches. If you work in centimeters, that would be, about 101, 102 centimeters. So we're just going to work with the inches, and it'll be easier if I just stick to one gauge. So as I say, let's say we're 40, mine was somewhere there, I don't actually remember now, but what you're going to do is you're going to chain on stitches, and you're going to chain, don't stretch your chain too much, but you don't want it to be too loose. I'll show you now. And you're going to do a chain all the way till on your tape measure, you're at the measurement that you wanted. Now, one worded advice, your wool stretches, and that was one little faux pas that I made. I did take it into consideration, but mine initially was a little bit too wide, so I had to decrease mine, and I'm actually very pleased I did it the way that I did, because it came out perfectly. So don't be scared. If you've done it too big, you decrease. It's not the end of the world. And if you've done it too small, you'll increase. It's the only thing is having to figure out how to increase or decrease with your pattern stitch, but I have done that for you, and it's not too hard a thing to do. So the very first step that I want you to do is measure yourself, as I say, wherever you're measuring, whether it's your waist, your hips, whichever, and then you're going to chain up to your gauge, up to the measurement that you have, and it's got to be in a multitude of 5. So if you whatever your chain is, if you've got 100, make sure you can divide it by 5, and then we'll just add on the extra 2. So just make sure you can divide whatever amount of chain you have by 5, and then this stitch will work for you. So do that, and that's step number 1. Okay, now for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to redo my whole jacket. My future videos, I'm learning that as I go along, it's best for me to make the video, but for this one I actually didn't do that, so now it's a little bit harder, but I do know what I did, and I'm going to show you, but I'm going to show you on a small scale, and don't worry, because you'll see exactly how to do it. So for this one, I've only done a few stitches. In this original project I did 170 stitches, so that I did 170, and then I added on extra 2, so that's 172. Now you don't have to stick to the exact measurement that you had. You're going to play with this. So for example, you're going to put it on here. See, now if I really stretch it, that's not what I want to do. I just want to let it be relaxed as it is, and this one is going up to about just on 8, which say my measurement was 8 1/4. Well, this is where I got to make a decision, because now I have to go in 5s, multitudes of 5s. Now if I do another 5, 1 2 3 4 5, that's going to give me almost a whole inch, which is going to take me further than where I wanted to go. So this is where you're going to make your very first decision. Do I go slightly under the one that I had, or do I go slightly over the actual measurement? And it's not going to be a big problem, because this is only 5 stitches, which is about an inch, so it's not the end of the world. If you had a stitch that was like 14, well, now you're starting to play with a bigger scale, which will make quite a big difference in your garment. but this little inch isn't going to make too much of a difference. I lean on the larger side. I like having my things baggy, so my daughters prefer theirs tighter, so they would lean on the smaller side. I don't like tight things, and that's just me, so therefore I tend to go with a slightly bigger. Just be aware that your yarn does stretch. This is not a fabric. If this was fabric, well, it's a different story, because then you're going to have to be more precise, because your fabric's not going to stretch unless it's a stretchy fabric. But you understand what I'm saying. So take into consideration that your end result, this is going to stretch. So look there, it's already stretching to over, and I could stretch it more. I don't want to outstretch my yarn. So be aware of that. You can go slightly smaller, slightly bigger. This is where I say it's your call. I can't give you a specific pattern because everyone's a different size. So having said all that, I've got my 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 plus 2 stitches. So do that for yours, chain yours, and then I'll show you how to do your very first row. So for our very first row, what we're going to do is you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So that's your first chain, this is your second chain, and they're saying to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And let me just bring you in a little closer so you can see. There you go, that's better. Alright, so that's your first chain, that's your second one, and they say single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Most times you'll single crochet in the second one. Okay, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 4 chain and single crochet in the next. So skip 4, that's the one that we went into, so you're not counting that one. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4 and then single crochet in your next chain. So skip 4 and single crochet in this one. Now, one word of advice that I tell you on all of my videos, if you've got a long chain, which we do have in this project, you have a very long chain because you're doing the front and the back, add on a few extra chain just in case, because by the time you get here and you say, oh my goodness, I'm short a chain or 2, now you got a problem. You can work it out. I mean, there are ways to work it out, but it's just easier to add on a few extra just in case. So having said that, chain 5, single crochet in this chain. Now we're going to keep doing that. So chain 5, 3, 4, 5, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, whoops, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in the next chain. Single crochet in this chain. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you do this all the way across. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet in this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in your next one. Chain 5, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in the next one. And as you see, I did have the perfect amount of stitches, so that is one brownie point for me. I got it right, and believe me, you don't always get it right. There are different ways that you can do your chain when you have such a long chain. Is you can mark it every 10 stitches, put a little yarn there or a clip or something every 10 stitches as you go along, which is actually quite a good idea. But I'm one of those that I kind of just want to get into my project, and I don't always take time, and it's important that you do. Anyway, now this is kind of, I'm going to be talking about loops. I'll show you now as we do more of the pattern, but these are loops that we're going to be counting because it helps us at the end of our project. But anyway, that's your row 1. Now I'm going to take you to row 2, and you're going to be doing, you're only working with 2 rows. So I'm going to show you row 2 and 3, and that's the pattern that you're going to be working with throughout. Alright, so for row 2, you're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now with this stitch, you'll see that both your sides end differently. At times it is a little confusing, so what I did was I wrote my 2 rows down, and I kind of marked the ends of them. Find a way that you'll know. So at the end of number 1, all I did was see, okay, this is how I finished this row. You'll see what I mean as we go along. But so you chain 6, then you're going to single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the first chain 5 space. So these are your chain 5 spaces. So in your very first one, you're going to single crochet, then you're going to chain 3, and then you're going to single crochet in the same space. Okay, now that's your beginning. Now you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the beginning, and you'll start every second row with that beginning. And you'll see your beginnings and endings are different. But it's not hard, it's two rows and that's it. So just chain 5. Now you're going to skip the next single crochet and single crochet, chain 3, single in this one. Same thing as what you did. Single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the same space. And that's what it looks like. So you got your little chain space there. Now we're going to do that again. Chain 5, 5, and single crochet in this next one. This is all the same all the way across. 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the same space. Chain 5, you skip that one, chain 5, single crochet in this one, and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet in the same place, chain 5. Okay, so we at just about at the end of this first row with your row 1, and you do your 5 chain. So you do 5 chain, and then you're going to do your same little story here, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet. But now to finish the end of this row, so remember to finish row 1, you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to do a treble in this last stitch here. So that's how this first row is always going to finish. So remember how this one starts, and remember how this one ends. And then you should be good, because now I'm going to show you row 2. And row 2, you're going to chain 1, you're going to turn your work around, then you're going to single crochet in the treble that you just made. So you're going to single crochet in this very same spot. And this is how row 2 is always going to start. So those are your important parts, the beginning and ends of them. Now we're going to chain 5. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip this little chain 3 space, and then in this one you're going to do the same thing as what you did there. So you're doing the same stitch ultimately, just slightly different in your 2 rows. So I'm missing that, and I'm going to go in here, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and then we're going to do another chain 5, skip that and do this here. So this is the same step, it's just going over these 2 and going in here. 1, 2, 3. You might want to just practice the stitch first before you actually start your jacket, or if you're like me, I just go ahead and start. Okay, skip that and go into, so you're going into your chain 5 spaces. So you're always making this little group here in your chain 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, single crochet in there, then 5. 1, 2, 4, 5, and in this space again, chain 5 space, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the same space, and then chain 5. Okay, and then you're going back into this space. Now we're coming towards the end, so we have to see, okay, how is row 3 in, well, you can call it row 1 or 2. By right, this very first row was row 1, and your pattern is row 2 and row 3 that you're repeating, but whichever you want to count them as. Okay, so now to finish this row, you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You chain 5 across to your last space, then you're going to skip this and you're going to single crochet in this. This is what's called a T chain space, a T for Tommy or T for T. You're going to go into this space. Now you could go into the stitch, which doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to go into the space. I'm just going to single crochet in that space, and that's how this one ends. So this one, this side, row 2 ended with a treble. It ended with chain 2 treble in your last stitch, and this one ends with your chain 5 and just a single crochet in your T space. And that's your most important thing that you need to know. As you can see as well with this, your stitch has actually increased with your chain. So your original chain is a little bit smaller than what my stitch is. So if you were unsure what to start with, you might want to start with slightly less, because the body of your work is actually longer than the chain, and this often does happen in your work. Your chain, your foundation ends up being slightly smaller because of the pattern that you're doing. So if you were unsure, that could be a sign to you to make yours slightly smaller. Up to you, but that I just thought I'd show you that. So that's all that it is there is to your pattern. Those row 2 and 3 is what you're going to keep on doing, these 2 rows. If you're unsure, replay the video so that you're sure about your stitch that you're doing, because it's very easy, and that's all that you're doing is these 2 rows. Now when I talk about counting your spaces, these are basically the spaces. This one has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And towards the end of the video, I do talk a little bit about that. On your one row you've got more than the other row, and it's just the nature of the stitch. But when we're dividing our work, we need to, that's what we are counting, are these loops. And I do talk about that, so don't worry about it now. But this is what you're going to do. You're going to do this all the way up to your armhole. Now I am going to show you in the next clip how to decrease, because I found that mine was a little bit too wide, so I decreased mine, and I will show you how to do that. Okay, so what I'm wanting to do is to show you where I decreased, and believe me, it was pretty hard to find where I decreased, but I did find it. This is where I decreased. Now you might find you don't even need to decrease. You can simply stay straight all the way to your armhole, which is also great, especially if you did a waistcoat or something from your waist. You probably found you didn't have to decrease. But as I kept working with mine, I just felt this looks a little wide. So I thought, let me rather decrease. And just a few things with your decreasing, especially in your body, you don't want to decrease right on the end here, because it's going to suddenly come in. And you'll see it, number 1. And number 2, you're going to mess with the way the edging is done. Like I said to you, it has its own specific way that it starts and ends. And if you decrease, you're starting to mess with that, which you don't really need to do. You can hardly see where I decrease, and in fact now I've lost where I did it. But I'll show you how to do it. Yeah, there's one here. I decreased across my whole thing. I did 3. So I did 1 on this side, and I went further across to the middle, then I did 1 there, and then I did 1 on the end. But as I say, not right on the edge. I did a few stitches, and then I decreased. I actually did it twice because I thought that mine was far too long. It just depends on what you're wanting. I did 1, then I did another row, and then I did another set of decreases of 3 on, so 3 per row. As I say, that's totally up to you. I could have left mine. It might have been a little baggier. It doesn't matter. It's really you practicing and seeing the style. But I just want to show you how you decrease, so that if you want to, you can decrease. Now I actually haven't, I didn't need to increase. So for this specific video, I haven't shown you how to increase because I didn't need to, and I didn't actually think about trying to figure out how to increase. If you really need to increase, you'll have to send me a little message, and then I can relook the whole thing. But at this stage, I think we're good just with decreasing, because you need to decrease by your arms if you want to, or you can do your whole garment straight in this all the way squared, which is great too. You can go all the way to your armhole, even further up. You can go all the way straight and then just flip it over. It's your call as to what you want to do. So what I want to do is just show you now how we're going to decrease. This is now row 2, because remember we're working with row 2 and row 3. So for row 2 you have to start off with chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, let me scoot you in a little bit. You started with chain 6, and then you went with you started with this in your very first chain 5. So you do a single crochet, chain 3, and single crochet in here. Then you're going to do chain 5. Now, because I have less stitches on my hook than what you do in my work here, because I'm working very small, I'm going to start with mine now. Now you could go in 3 stitches, depends on how many of these little loops you have, is going to depend on how far you go in. Try and do it fairly. If you're doing 3, space it. If you're only doing 2, or maybe you only want to do 1, if you only want to do 1, you'll have to find a spot where to do it. You do kind of see with my 3, I can see where I increased. So I kind of did them in the same spot just to give it a bit of a shape, which actually worked out well. Decrease, you're going to do your chain 5. Now remember, you got 2 loops here, and to decrease I want 1 loop. I want to get rid of one of these loops. So you're going to chain 5. Now instead of doing your single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in your first loop. So single crochet in that loop, and then you're going to single crochet into this loop, and then do chain 3 and single crochet in the same loop, and that's eliminated the 1. And when you look at your work afterwards, you don't even see where you did it. And now you've eliminated, you've got the 1 loop and you've got rid of the other. So now we're going to do chain 5, and you're going to just finish doing your normal row. Just remember, when you're decreasing, you're bringing your work in, and it is, you can notice it, even though it's subtle, you do still notice it. So just think about that as you work, that you want to be aware. Now if you did 2 on this row, you're balancing it out. I'd have had another one here, then I would at least have done 1 plain row and then done another row with possibly 1 there and 1 there. If you're only doing 1 and that's it, you're not going to do any more, any time, any again, it doesn't really matter. If you're doing 1 per row, you're going to do 1 here. Then I would probably on the second row do the other one on the other side, so they balance each other out. It's going to be your call. Just be aware that it is bringing your work in a bit, so what you do, you want to balance it out. As I say, just 1, it's not bad. And even if, okay, now if I just do 1 and I go further up and I see, oh gosh, I think I need to bring it in again, do it on the other side. You know, don't have them both on this side, even if it's further up. Just do the other one here, and it's going to balance your work. So it's all about balancing your work. There you did your 5, there's your decrease. So you just skip over and go into your next chain space. It's a little bit of a longer stretch because you've got an extra 1, but it does work, because mine worked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to go into your T over here. So let's see what we have. You can see it's brought my work in quite a bit. My work is pulled in, that's where it was. You can see it's brought it in quite a bit, and you can hardly see where I did it. And as you do more rows, I really had to search to find mine in that other pattern. And now you're sitting with only a few of these. You got 2 less, and it really works. That's how you decrease your work. And as I said, stay balanced. Just remember how many you want to do. You can decrease a little bit all the way up if you like, and it's just going to bring your garment in, and it's not touching your sides. Your sides look the same, it just brings it in beautifully over here. And then when you get to your armholes, it's going to be up to you. If you decide to just keep going straight with no decreases, if you find this is too hard, you can go straight all the way. You can go straight the whole way with your jacket to the end and just flip it over. It'll just hang loosely over your arms. Or you can follow what I did, and as I get to the armhole I show you how to separate your two. But that's basically all that you're going to be doing for your beginning part all the way up to the armhole. As I say, if you do need to increase, I'll have to figure out how you increase, because I don't know. I never thought about increasing. I didn't need to. But if you really find that you made yours too small, you need to increase. Sometimes it doesn't always look good. It depends, you know, it depends on your garment, but we can definitely look at that. But yes, keep doing that all the way up to your armhole, and I think you're good.